It's always a little more challenging for me to do projects that are very contemporary. And so, because I like eclectic and I like more traditional type of homes, so when a client says, I want contemporary, I want very clean lines, I say, okay, let's do that. Let's make it soft as well by adding other elements into it. And so that is always part of our process. So, and then we meet halfway. So I put in, let's say, I add warm colors like metal. I add a little bit of gold, a little wallpaper. I use a lot of wallpaper. Actually, I like using textured walls. So I try to insert that. They were ready to move out of a condo and into a home, bringing the outdoors in and really being able to enjoy outdoor space as well by having a swimming pool and an outdoor area for their son. So we collaborated as soon as COVID was over, first by phone, messaging each other. She showed me photos of the home first and asked me if I was willing to come and do it and use her old pieces and then put in new ones. And I said, of course. From the onset, I loved working with my client. And so it was going to be a new challenge, especially after COVID. I think after COVID, this was one of my first projects again. So it was a good start. The personal relationship is the most important. Communication and then developing that personal relationship and fondness for each other. And really, it doesn't anymore become like client, designer, client, decorator relationship. It really becomes more of a friendship and a collaboration so that it becomes true. It's not like fake, like, okay, you're paying me, I'm going to do this for you. No, it's like I really enjoy doing it. Like I'm passionate about doing it. And I feel my clients know that about me. That's why I turn out becoming friends with all of them. I knew from the onset that area was very important to my client because, like I mentioned, in their condo, that was the highlight of their living room. They had that theater. And then the bar, some of it was hidden behind cabinets. And so I didn't really see some of the pieces that I worked with now, I didn't see then. What we did was she showed me all the bottles and all the memorabilia that she's collected through the years. So what I did was, looking at all of them seemed quite overwhelming in the start because it was a lot and I knew I had that tiny space to work with. So actually, I think she showed it to me before I even decided to do this wall. So then we said, okay, so I have to use my creative juices there and say, okay, where am I going to put everything? Because I wanted to be able to showcase as much as I could. I laid it out on the floor with Manila paper. I drew it like how I thought it should be. Because it's easy to just say, okay, this is there and this is there, but then when you look at them as a whole, it doesn't look good. So I wanted to combine art pieces with bottles, with glasses. So it's like a mix of all the elements. And then we did the metalworks. We did the initial with wood coated in metal, and then we had to put that wall. So yeah, so it was quite nerve-wracking when it was done because it's a solid piece. So if there was a mistake in the measurement, we couldn't do anything anymore. We can't dismantle and say, okay, we're gonna move this here. So it was like fingers crossed when it was delivered and installed. It was like both of us, my client and I, were super excited and nervous. Is this gonna work? But when it happened and it was there, we were both like up here. We were so happy because it worked, and her husband was happy about it as well. So we wanted to put in the tropical feel into this home, being very contemporary, and the dining room is very contemporary. It was really just like a plain box. So we put in the tropical wallpaper there. It's farther away from the garden, less plants, less green, so we wanted to put that in the walls. And so we started with the wallpaper, and we had the chairs of the client, the old dining chairs from the condo, which are quite contemporary, mixed with traditional also. They're studs, so and tufting. So contemporary space, tufted chairs, bringing in the outdoors in. So, and then also having two huge contemporary armoires to house all their collections from all around the world. We both like solihiya a lot. So when I started working on her past project, and then for another project for her father, she already knew that I liked solihiya as a natural weave. And then we realized, oh my gosh, we both like it. So it was easy to convince her about the solihiya. So coming in here, that wall was blank. And we were thinking, okay, what are we going to do with it in the daytime? Are we going to load it with paintings? Or are we going to do something more creative? And where can I put the solihiya into a home where, like we said, it was already made, right? Okay, let's do that wall in solihiya so that in the daytime, when there's no movie going on, it's a beautiful wall. We don't need to put wall art. That is the art. I think as a little girl, I was very exposed to art and art and architecture. Because my grandmother was one of the first interior designers of the Philippines in the 50s, and I had been to her different homes and saw her beautiful, beautiful furniture. And she had pieces that even at that time, I was like, wow. And if I think about it now, I was about 5-6 years old maybe. These are the pieces I see now. So she was a visionary. So I just thought, okay, I was so exposed to all of that, and I had seen that weave even then, and underneath the chairs, right, that was there. And I loved it already. So I would even say to my Mom, why don't we remove the cushions from the chair and just sit on the solihiya and put back cushions instead and expose that weave? Because I loved it. And she said, okay, because my mom was also a designer. So she said, let's do that. And so, yeah, so it was really something I grew with, I think, grew up with, grew into, and learned how to actually morph into many, many things. That solihiya has just grown with me, I think, as well. And I think I've educated so many clients about it. So when I have repeat clients, they say, oh, where are you going to put the solihiya in this project? And then I say, don't worry, it's going to go somewhere. And they'll be like, oh, they're shocked. Oh, there it is. So yeah, it is my trademark, I would say. I think it'll all start with what you really want, what you're passionate about. You know, whether it's plants, for instance, you bring in the plants. If you like cups, like this client of mine likes cups, you start with one collection, you start with one piece, and then you grow from that, I think. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to buy things and collaborate with somebody or collect. Because you will always find a place for things that are passionate for you. So when you begin a home, you just start with, what do I want? Who am I? And that's where you go. You go from there. No two homes are the same ever. And the most fulfilling thing for me as a designer is when, after I've turned over a project and my client is like, texts me and say, I'm having a glass of wine in my lanai or in this part of my house. And I just love every corner. And I'm just like, thank you so much. That for me is the most fulfilling part of my job.